Hello, everybody, and welcome to our review of Currency, Freddie Gibbs The Alchemist album, Fetti. Welcome to the Headspace podcast. This is episode 100.
Part 1.
Episode 100. There's actually been more than 100, but this is official episode 100, and that's fucking cool. And so we're still doing it. We're almost at the 2-year point. It's on pace for where we want it to be. Anyway, because of that and everybody released little albums, we decided to do a 3-parter. So we're going to talk about some smaller albums over the course of the next couple of days. You'll see boom, boom, boom the next few days, a few album reviews coming out, all part of this big episode 100. So it's like a super duper one. My name is HSR.
My name is Chris Chrome.
As of today, I am now 31 years old, so it's my
Happy birthday!
And that's how I'm spending my birthday, reviewing albums and recording reviews. And then we'll see what happens after.
Well, you get to spend it with me.
We'll see what happens after. No, but if all goes well, the evening is still a free thing. Anyway, so you can skip all of our jibber jabber and you can check in the description of the video, the itinerary of the episode. And before we get into that, we love all the comments. So you can always feel free to let us know what you think of our review or thoughts, etc. Educate us along the way. We're not necessarily hip-hop scholars, and we don't necessarily always understand the life of the artists that are making the art. So through the comments, we can learn a lot. Anyway, we say that because every episode we like to start with our favorite comment of last week's episode. Last week we talked about the Mick Jenkins album, Pieces of a Man. To that, Lindell Williams had to say, as far as the term Reggie, meaning bad weed, it probably originated around the New Jersey area, being that's where Redman is from. I would say that this is a standout album. Also, if you know where Reggie's from, let us know. Album apart from today's standards, and I dig the sound of it. It's something you kind of listen to and you get in a certain mood. This is thinking music, and I also prefer the kind of vibe over the trappy type beats. It wasn't a trappy type album. This to me is a 4.4, and I guess there's some serious weed heads in Canada, eh? We are still having giant lineups. Quebec still has no regular supply.
What, 2 weeks now?
Quebec might not be able to open full-time its limited number of weed stores due to supply issues for 6 months. But anyway, we talked enough about weed. And
Oh, wait. Yeah, you said because it's certain days, right, of the week that's
only open from Thursday to Sunday. And even, anyway.
But that's all I care
Quebec is very bad drug dealers. This to me is a 4.4. I guess there's some, anyway, yeah, we said that part. Yeah, great comment. Thanks, Wendell. Anyway, I just kind of enjoy, we just enjoy going through the albums and talking about it. Love to hear your opinion. Before we jump into it, special thanks to the patrons, Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Linda Williams, and Super Old School 1994. Always feel free to, anyway, you can check that out at the end of the video. I got a little confused there. Sorry about that. Anyway, we'll talk about that after. Let's jump into this review before we get more confused and lost. Chris, why don't you reintroduce the album of what we are going to be talking about today?
Well, for this week's Headspace 100th episode, part 1 album review, it is Currency, Freddie Gibbs, and the Alchemist, Fetti. Roma? Well, the name on the album is Fetti, but the album title says Fetti Roma. The album cover has Fetti Roma, and then the name on Spotify is Fetti.
The album's called Fetti, and the artists are Currency, Freddie Gibbs, and The Alchemist. Alchemist did all the beats. I don't know that I've heard of Currency. I have heard of Freddie Gibbs. He's one of those names where I feel like I was supposed to check him out at some point by now, and I never got around to it.
I heard of Currency back when I fell onto Wiz when they made Jet Life, the song Jet Life together.
I don't know.
I always found Currency to have a cool thing. And Freddie Gibbs, I know him from GTA 5. He had a song on the radio.
We like to start off the show just letting you know, our understanding of the artist going into it, because it kind of gives you an idea of where we're at with it. So for me, this is pretty fresh. I do know who Alchemist is. I've heard several albums that he's been involved in the production on, so that was a familiar name. I like his production. I was kind of excited for that. I didn't know what to expect from the rapping, but I did expect lyrical stuff more so than auto-tune trappy stuff. But to be fair, I've tried to avoid talking about auto-tune trappy stuff for like the better part of this year because it's easier for me to show love when it's not that. I prefer this lyrical style of hip-hop no matter what they're talking about. It's better than other stuff and having to pretend I like it or some shit, you know?
Right.
Y'all don't seem to want to come here and watch me talk shit. Y'all seem to like it better when I like stuff. I'm just saying. Anyway, I don't have more to say about them. I'm just excited to hear the project. I hear this collaboration is a long time coming. The people wanted it to happen. It's now here. The cover is a big yellow square, and it literally has like the little packaging like this was a CD, the little sticker with the little barcode like it was a CD in a store as part of the artwork. I thought that was, at first I thought I had the wrong image when I looked for it online. Then I realized that was actually part of the artwork, so that's pretty fucking cool. And otherwise Fetti, and then Roma, isn't that like some shit you see all over Italian shit to authenticate it? Like, I don't know. I don't actually know what Roma is. I know I've seen it on clothing. I don't know.
Maybe like Roma, like aroma.
I don't know. I know Fetti is cheese, money, all that good stuff. Fetti was pretty clear to me. Roma, whatever. I don't know. If you guys want to let us know, this was just me being lazy. It's not that I couldn't find out. I didn't really think about it until Chris brought it up. I don't know.
I have nothing else to say.
All right. Instead of boring y'all, let's talk about location remote.
Niggas dying to be like us, losing their minds trying. I'm in the basement.
When I first heard this, I thought of Pusha T, and he's like, if you know, you know, and I don't know. So I'm going to start shit off by saying I don't know. I don't really. In the past, I've tried to interpret the more drug dealery type raps. I don't understand the fucking life. So I'm going to go at what I can appreciate off of this for this review. But Chris, how do you feel about this song?
I like the kind of spacey-ish vibe that it has. This like the instrumental is kind of like very out there. You don't have like your generic 808 drums. You don't have your generic like snare bassy type music. It's really like a lot of melodies kind of mashed together in terms of making this kind of one sound. And then you have like, of course, you got your drums and your other stuff. But that was really cool. From what I understand about the track. We have Currency on verse 1, and it kind of seems like he's cooking in the lab. Maybe that's like double entendre words for making like in the studio making up lyrics. Maybe he's cooking up chemicals in a trap house or whatever. He seems to be in a remote location doing his thing, but you get this essence of like him on that paper chase. It's not like he's just kind of flexing about if this is drug dealing or whatnot. He's not kind of flexing about the actual act, but it's more like I'm grinding and doing what I know to make my money, to stay at the top, to stay, rich and have my wealth. I like when Currency says, trying to get high as I can go, the glass ceiling broke. It's kind of like he's elevating his expectations. He's removing any limitations that he has. He wants to grow and see the rest of the world, see the rest of what other outcomes and possibilities there is.
By getting high. So I know what the line's saying, but I also think it's a double entendre.
Right. I like how Freddie Gibbs is already making play on words about having so much ice and jewelry. He needs a chiropractor because the chain that he has is really heavy on his neck. I like when he kind of references the 1963 Goldies, and then he's going to go Andretti in it. Like he's got some nice kind of rims on his car. He's kind of showing us he likes these kind of like classy fashion stuff, like fashionable stuff. Kind of has like a certain type of status to it, a certain type of respect to it. It was cool. I found it interesting how Freddie Gibbs threw in like a somewhat like a political line. Trump sweating bullets on Diet Coke, sniffing powder up, and if he build the wall, we gonna bring the dope underground with us. I like how there's like he's always kind of finding a different opportunity, a different way to do it. He's not going to let anything stop him. I'm getting the sense that maybe he's got some people across borders. He's got some connections. So that's also a thing. Overall, I gave the song a 4 on 5. It's not a bad track. I just don't think that right away, I don't think that I'm the targeted audience for this album, for this entire project. I don't think that I am the person who...
Because it doesn't have any trap drums, so Chris is out.
It's not about the trap drums. I know what Currency's type of music is. I've heard him before. I've listened to some Freddie Gibbs music before, and I just don't...
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know. The first thing I thought was that the beat was ridiculous, and it kind of has this different sound to it, maybe something more Arab influenced or something spacey kind of like that coming in. So not your regular sounds, and then there's that like kind of sound that kicks in. It creates almost like an ambiance, like you're gonna go on a little bit of a journey here. And so I mean, it's clearly kind of drug dealer bars. That's what I'm gonna call this. These are guys who have serious money, live a certain life, are the real legitimate side of it, at least according to the bars. I don't want to allude to their actual lives. And they sound legit. They don't sound like poser types, and they don't sound like they're flossing for the sake of flossing. I know somewhere on the album, one of them mentions they rap for fun. It kind of sounds like drug dealers who rap for fun. I will give them that in that sense of what they're doing. But another thing is, the way these two dudes bounce off of each other sounds so organic, like they were just meant to rhyme next to each other, and I really enjoy that chemistry they have. Currency rhymes proper. I mean, look at like that first little bit. Laboratory coats rhyming with testing the dope. I'm in a location remote, Ivory Coast. You know, and the way he punches each of those lines, trying to get high as I can go. The glass ceiling broke, and he just kind of flows it in nice. He's got that like emphasis on rhyming while setting up the wordplay. And I'm like, yo, we talking proper like golden era style of rhyming, and I thought that was really cool. So maybe Chris is right. He's not the target demographic of this, but my first thoughts is this is for the people who claim hip-hop isn't real anymore, hip-hop doesn't exist anymore, all those fucking haters who don't want to like believe good music's out there. This is totally up their alley. It's fucking dope. And they flow on through. There's not many lines in here that meant... I couldn't connect a lot with these songs because I can't relate to the life, but I did love the way they rhyme and the way they flow over the beats, and it was really fun to listen to. And I, in general, love the intensity and the swag, it's a good word for it, of the way they deliver lines. Like, these are dudes who have a nonchalance and an attitude to the way they spit that oozes personality in the best possible way, which is something you need when you're in hip-hop. Freddie Gibbs is fucking great. I like how like Currency seems to be a little smoother, and Freddie Gibbs is not afraid to go up on the little bit of trickier flows along the way. And it's almost like unapologetic with it. Like, if it's not perfectly delivered, but it's clear enough, he's like, fuck it, this is what it's supposed to be, and he just runs with it, and it all just seems to work. I don't know if you guys can know what I mean by that, but... Well,
there is some parts, I mean, and I do agree, there is some parts where it sounds like Freddie kind of sounds offbeat.
But it's just more like he's expressing it, whereas like Tech 9 would have been like, fuck that, gotta redo the take, it's not perfectly cha.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I like that. I also like the idea of kidnapping, IG, trapping might get your sister hit. And I love the idea of how, like, if you put your life on blast and, like, you do it all on the internet, well, then you're just exposing yourself to me. And those are the kinds of nuances that make me really trust the dude. I also like Legend in this bitch might do Coachella as a hologram. And that's a really cool way to compare yourself to somebody like Tupac, because, you know, that's kind of what I think of when I hear hologram and the Coachella thing. But instead of saying...
Pac in that line as well?
It just says Legend in this bitch might do Coachella as a hologram, which is referencing Pac, because he's saying... like the hologram bit, but he doesn't actually go as far as to be obvious about it. He does it a little bit sly-like. I thought it was cool. And then I also thought it was fascinating how, like, that wasn't this one. Anyway, yeah, it's just good. It's got a little outro. This is exactly what they just want you to believe. They call it a phenomenon. He outranks them. Sit down. I don't want to sit. I want my money. You know, it's like business-oriented dudes expressing how they do their thing. Priorities, great rhyming, great flowing. What else could I possibly freaking want? I give it a 4.3. It's a good song. I really enjoyed it. And why don't we talk about The Blow?
Ain't never promoted that. Coldest nigga you ever heard on Allen the Otis.
I like this one. The beat's even cooler, you know? But the subject matter is fine. This one is, when it says The Blow, I believe we're talking about cocaine. Just throwing it out there, which is a clever way of calling it that.
I think it might be like a double entendre, though. Yes, I think it has something to do with cocaine because Freddie Gibbs' verse kind of has like this drug dealer insight aspect on how like.
But then you're right. But then currency. Okay, so like Freddie's verse is kind of like making the money and doing the work and shit, and then once you blow in and you blow up, you're in currency's land where you're spending the money and you enjoying it after. Yeah. So it's just kind of the two sides to, I guess, the life of the blow. And then you blow because of blow. As far as the lyrics go, it's pretty much kind of fine. I like when he's like, bitch, it's liquid golden when I'm over shit. I fill up the track like a Mr. T starter kit, spit the hardest shit. I should grow a motherfucking mohawk and get a black fam with a red stripe. And like, you know, the fact that he mentions Mr. T, and then, you know, which is part of the A-team, so he's fucking golden and shit. And then literally describes getting the mohawk, getting the van and everything, and like follows it up with like actually following up with what the starter kit would be. That I thought was pretty cool. Overall, like, I don't know. It's hard to comment on this because I don't know how to differentiate between if this guy's drug dealer bars is significantly more profound and meaningful than the next guy's drug dealer bars. So I respect that. And I've been criticized in the past for trying, so I'm trying not to. I like the dingly-dinglies of the beat. It kind of creates a nice ambiance to it. I like the part where Freddie's kind of like, who he's got his like main girl, but he wants it all, so he fucks whatever other girls are there too. Although, my baby said if I'd be faithful, she gonna hold me down. Real shit. I'm fucking these hoes. I want it all like an only child. I don't really like that because I think a lot of dudes can end up in that position where they get the real proper chick. It's like, yo, just focus on me, whatever. And he's like, yeah, baby, I got you. And then, you know, goes after the girls because he wants it all. That sounds like the same kind of personality that does pretty well with the drug dealing life. Currency does cool. I feel like he flows proper. Again, there's not a lot I can comment on the bars except that they rhyme pretty fucking well. And yeah, I enjoyed this one. I give it a 4.25.
I like in verse 1 with Freddie Gibbs, he goes, I don't know what's worse, to have the IRS or have your baby mamas in a cheese. Had to cut a couple bitches off. I guess they were used to thinking that they was out of a league. And I like how he's kind of showing us, like, no matter what type of lifestyle you have, no matter what type of scenario you in, you always got somebody trying to grab your money, grab your cash, grab your hard-earned work. I guess in his case, since I feel like his verse is kind of giving us like the drug dealer life in terms of the hard working in it and all the movements you got to make, I feel like he's kind of expressing some type of paranoia, some type of like fear that he may hold on to in a way of like, I can't trust nobody. That's what I liked from Freddie's verse. Currency's verse, I enjoyed how he said near the end, the beginning, from a 700-foot square apartment, never claimed to be king of New Orleans, though my new castle one of the largest. And I like that type of like rags to riches story, type of like, you know, I went from nothing, I got to something, this is where I'm from. I still kind of hold on to my past a little bit to keep me like in a humble position in a way, but then I'm also out here lavish, making money and doing what I got to do to keep moving on. I do enjoy the beat. I like the beat a little bit more than I did the last one. I like how both of them they bounce off with each other. I do think that was what a lot of people may have been requesting to hear, because I do kind of get this sense of like with Currency's kind of like stonerish, mellow, spacey type of vibe, super slowed down, relaxed, and then Freddie's type of like street gangsterness that I get from him, his like raw, heavy voice. It's really cool, really cool. I did give the song a 4 on 5.
All right, super cool. Let's talk about them new Thangs.
As always strapped, I don't be on all that. They be wherever I'm at because they know.
Man, you know, you get the sense that these guys really just are having fun with it, you know? Like, they allude to a lot of things without saying a whole lot. And I think that's kind of part of this mentality that you're supposed to have, like this real G's move in silence. Like,
Right.
they don't really, they might reference specifics like a white and yellow Air Max as I step up my lack. Okay, so he's got, the shoes and the Cadillac, but I smell like a pack, little cologne mixed with that. He's not like telling you which one, it's just kind of giving you a general nuance to like regular shit that's supposed to happen. My partner's always strapped. I don't be on all that. They be whatever I'm at because they know where y'all act, how y'all act. So he's alluding to things. He's not really saying anything.
Well,
I pulled up in
he knows
what's this?
people.
I came out and what's that? So he's talking about like cars changing and things like that happening, but he's not really saying it. He's just alluding to it. And I think that's what creates that authenticity with it, where he describes enough of the life to like let you know that he's lived these moments. Like, this is not like a foreign thing to him. He knows he smells like pot, throws on a little bit of cologne, and that's his smell. Weed mixed with this, whatever. Shit like that. I kind of just enjoy the overall flossiness of like the way he goes da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's just kind of nice. It's got like this carefree attitude to it. His Currency, I believe he's doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I like how this starts off with a documentary describing this like prostitute. He's like, yeah, pimps are only gonna drop you for younger, hotter girls, so it's better to go independent, and that's what I do now. I don't need a pimp.
Is that because I thought like the documentary was kind of like saying like such and such is a prostitute. She's with different pimps, and then she works under her own now, and she's the one saying that when she finds somebody younger, she's gonna go after that. Kind of like the prostitute is now the pimp and moving like
Yeah, I took that kind of vibe also from it, but also in the sense that at this current moment she's independent, keeping her eye out for a younger person to kind of move in on that. And then that second verse comes in with Freddie, and I kind of like when he's like rocking Virgil Air Max off-white cook crack, because when you cook crack it does come off with this off-white color. I've never cooked crack, but you've seen it on pictures to know what it looks like, the color of his shoes. So I kind of like how he's doing that kind of shit where he like correlates it in such a blunt, like I turned some shit into sugar cane, couldn't look back. I can't evade these gangster ways. I guess the hood did that. And it's like, man, you just feel it. Like he could choose to do whatever, but he likes the hood. What can he say, And I respect that bluntness and that like honesty that rolls off with it. It makes me really appreciate listening to them. But these dudes also have really cool voices that makes it easy to like flow. So I find Alchemist beats very enthralling. The more I've come to appreciate, I guess, that like New York beat sound, it kind of has grown on me a lot. So the combination of the way these guys just say words mixed with that beat is just something I can throw on. And I was having a lot of trouble focusing on what they were saying. Like last night, I was listening to the record, all the ones that we're going to talk about today. I was playing Octopath Traveler. And damn, was it just like fun to listen to this project, spin it over and over again. Just letting it flow in the background is something really great to listen to. So I wanted to give it its props for that role. I gave it a 4.25. While I can't connect with it as much as I'd like, I still appreciate how well made and interesting it is.
I can respect the flows, and from reading the lyrics, I can respect what they're saying. It follows suit so far. It still stays consistent with the type of message we've been getting so far. But I didn't really actually like the song overall. I felt like it just didn't have that same type of energy from the last two tracks. It didn't have maybe I didn't really enjoy the beat as much either, personally. It's not bad. It's just for me. Like it had this weird type of like loungy feel to it that wasn't really like kind of, I felt like set them like set really with the tone of the song, or like kind of how they were like flexing in a sense. So I did leave it at a 3.7. I do really enjoy, like I can get behind the fact of like listening to it in the background. I don't think I'd skip this song. I just wouldn't go to it and be like, hey, I want to listen to this. Nah, like that's just not for me.
That's fair. Let's talk about how the Saturday night special is going to be something.
Deviated from the life of mission statement. This is preservation of the vibe.
I feel like this one was easier to connect to because it was a little bit more about authenticity and like, maybe commenting on hip hop culture and stuff I can actually, understand without. Anyway, just like, on that Rolls Royce float. Now it's funny he says that, because my first thoughts when I heard that beat is just like, this beat's floaty. That's a good way to describe the beat. And I could see how, like, if you're in a Rolls Royce floating along, and I imagine that a Rolls Royce is a pretty good suspension system, so it feels like you're floating while you're driving in the Rolls.
I just kind of took it as like exactly just being in the Rolls Royce and like make it like a parade
But you
float.
gotta imagine, like, for the amount of money you're spending, you should be able to go over like a fucking speed bump, and it feels like you're floating. That's all I'm trying to say.
I mean, yeah.
At least a few times. If you keep doing that at like 60, you might have some problems. But anyway, what's in every bar? Another motivational quote.
Hey.
That's a great line, Just looking at the idea of, like, people just kind of putting false shit into their rhymes to sell records, or floaty crap, or just nonsense, just a lack of authenticity, just slogans, just bullshit.
I don't actually agree with that. I think that I took it more as like you relate to somebody when you're feeling something. Like, you might not be somebody who connects with a little Uzi, but somebody who does connect with a little Uzi
I read it
might
wrong.
take it away. Like,
So maybe I read it, because check it clean. Like, I put a set of gold things in a bar of soap. What's in every bar? Another motivational quote. So maybe it's more what he's putting into every one of his lines is motivational quotes for you to relate to. Sorry about misinterpreting that. I see what you're saying.
that's kind of what I took from that. I like that type of wisdom a little bit. I also like that type of like honesty too. Like, he's just, even though you listen to some music, and I took that point on like a broader scale. Even though you listen to some music and it might be violent, grotesque, or some such or whatnot, but somebody somewhere will learn something from it, whether it's negative, positive message or whatnot.
I think that the point is more that he makes the effort to do that, and authentic music will make that effort to create relatable music you can connect with, whereas pop, flashy music will not make that. Like it's kind of hard to connect to. Can you blow the whistle, baby? Whistle, baby, let me go. I mean, what the fuck is that? It's not, anyway. So compare against what they're doing, and I appreciate the authenticity in their rhymes. Or like, this is a preservation of the vibe. Never let them forget the time. Well, they say you was a rapper. You for sure had to know how to rhyme. I keep my passport closed because it eases my mind. And I like that, because it shows that he's like kind of remembering back in the day when the actual skill of the craft was important, and that you actually had to be good,
Well, something that Freddie says in the verse 2, he goes, I'm controversial with these verbs, like Christopher Wallace with words, Felix Mitchell with birds, Malcolm X with that perm. And I really like that, because one, Christopher Wallace, Biggie, two, he's kind of putting himself in that stature of legendary, that he's like kind of dividing himself from what everybody might be today or whatnot. And like,
I think he's trying to talk about like an authentic, so Christopher Wallace with them words, he spoke about how he was like a real fucking street hustler type person. I imagined it. I don't really know who Felix Mitchell is, but I am reading the autobiography of Malcolm X right now. And Malcolm X with the perm at that point in his life is basically a gangster of sorts. He, if I'm not mistaken, he says it. He's one of the first guys ever to do mobile dope delivery, where he would hop the train and follow bands around selling reefer. So when you really consider that, he's kind of referencing that he's authentic, like the gangster side of Malcolm X's life is kind of how I took that. And based on how they've been rhyming throughout this thing, it makes a lot of sense. I do want to comment, this is one of the only songs where their verses get like broken up by these little interludes that kind of correlate with what they're saying, and I thought that kind of added to the song and made it more interesting, building up the theme of it. Freddie Gibbs was also fucking great in this. I really enjoyed listening to him. I like the little interlude he has where it's like, Freddie Gibbs, I heard the name. I didn't know you were dope, but I mean, I heard you were dope, but I didn't realize you were that dope. That's kind of what he's saying there. Mm-hmm. He flows on, and I just kind of dig it. Like, Freddie Gibbs has a lot to say, and he like fucking rolls on through and flows it. It's pretty proper. I enjoyed listening to this song. This is my favorite one we've listened to so far. I would go ahead and give this a 4.5 on 5. This one is really good to me.
It landed at a 4 for me.
That's all you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the track. I like how they both kind of cut their verses in half and had an interlude in it. There's like verse 1 and then verse 1 continues. I do agree. I mean, I agree with a lot of things you said. Like Freddie does go off on this role and kind of give us his like inner sight to what he is kind of up to. But what I've taken away so far, and we're almost halfway through. What I've taken away so far is that part of this is flexing. Part of this is a message. And I feel like they're trying to, instead of just kind of boast about the type of people they are, they're trying to show the audience, like, this is some real shit. Like, you can go down these certain roads and make money and have lavish life, but also be prepared to deal with certain consequences, certain paranoias and things that we got to deal with.
I don't feel so much the consequences side of this so much as they're just kind of talking about, I feel like they present themselves as guys who are set, who have done things correctly, who have figured it out, who are able to make this rap, able to have these careers, able to just do the things that they do. And in a sense, this whole album is just kind of flossing about how authentic they are. And I'll give you that end of it. I do feel that's the project is extremely consistent amongst the themes that they're presenting, but given the type of rap it is, I don't think it needs more than what they're doing with it. I don't need them to all of a sudden start going socio-political or commenting on modern feminism. Like, that wouldn't make sense. On the other hand, there's this consistency to this project where when you play it over, there's nothing extra. There's nothing here where I'm feeling this is frivolous, it needs to go away. It's more like this is consistently fucking solid and it really flows well together like a well-rounded project. And I really enjoy that about it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, the next one is Now and Later Gators.
How you living, nigga, live the main life. Free
I like how this one is so very different in light of everything I just said on the last end of the
Very
last
smooth,
one.
very kind of romantic in a sense. It's got these chimes and these pianos and this like,
It almost feels like you're supposed to smoke a fat blunt and space out to this. It's got that kind of airy feel to it. It's got calm.
I picture like being in a room doing all of that, but having that girl kind of dance there.
I don't really think this is a dancing. I
I feel like he's kind of macking on
I feel like
people.
this is you sitting on the couch in the back of the club with your arm around the girl talking smooth. You're not dancing to this. This is too
No, I didn't say I
calm.
was dancing. I'm saying she's dancing.
Nah, this
like,
isn't.
like one of those like lap dance type things. Or
I mean, maybe. I don't really like strip clubs. Strip clubs are boring to me. If you're gonna go down that road, just pay for the whore. Straight up. Like, I don't know what you're trying to fool. Although apparently, depending on where you're from, your strip clubs might be way better than the strip clubs in Montreal. So that's all I'm trying to say. I've heard some stories about some great experiences where for $5 it's like this great ass show and everyone tries hard and there's great food, and I'm like, okay, maybe that strip club experience is dope. I digress. This song doesn't make me think of that. It just kind of makes me think of this smoky ambiance, this quiet kind of thing. Every line is delivered on its own in this very like particular way. Like there's a more granular flow than trying to be Mr. Rapidy here. And they both kind of sound proper as they're going through. I like how Freddie Gibbs has this nonchalance. Yeah, but I don't got time for these hoes. Truthfully, yeah, I whipped the wet and the VVS, the jewelry. Just kind of like flows through. He's got his focus still on the money, on the accolades. He doesn't really have time for the distractions, even though this feels a bit more like a girl song.
maybe it's like in a sense of a conversation. Like he's kind of like chit-chatting, like you said, with the girl in the back of the club, and they're kind of talking, and he's like, this is who I am, and this is what I do, you know?
Yeah, it's fine.
Kind of what I got from that.
Anyway, it doesn't have a lot really to me going on. I think it's just Freddie for the most part and whoever's singing on the chorus. I love the vibe of this song. I think it's something I could really enjoy listening to. I don't actually care if it's lyrical or great or anything. It's just got this smooth production. It's got this super great like beat. The delivery's proper. It's a well-rounded, awesome song. So 4.5 on 5.
Well, I give it a 4.
That's fine. Moving along, we can talk about how there's no windows tinted.
Serious, dashboard, lavish, 14 karat gold instruments. I'm outside.
So I took like two things from this track, this little Currency solo thing. One, he's fly as fuck. in his new car, and he envisioned the car being beautiful, and it was as beautiful as he pictured it being. But he's so gangster about shit that he's willing to do the criminal activities like smoking and driving, and he doesn't keep the windows tinted, because what's the point? If you're going to have the nice thing, you're going to have the nice life, floss the nice life.
But I think it's more than just having the nice thing or nice life. I think it's about, like, I put work and effort and determination into this car.
So why hide it?
Exactly. It's like he's not trying to hide what he has. I think he's trying to show what he can achieve.
I think he's trying to floss what he has, and he's like saying he's so legitimate about it. He's got no fear if he's gonna live a certain way. He's not, because you keep the windows tinted to hide the fact that you're like smoking a blunt or whatever, or criminal shit. Nah, he flosses what he does, and I kind of like that swagger that he puts off in it. I don't know. The song's pretty shorter than the rest of the ones on this album.
Minute 40 or something like that.
It's pretty good. I felt like it followed through. 4.25. Another great beat. Another great delivery from Currency. I have nothing else to really comment on it.
The song landed at a 4 for me. I really enjoyed the different type of... It gave me that Jet Life type feel, because that's the song that I stumbled upon with him. It's kind of slower a little bit. Got that kind of like mellow, stoner-y vibe to it. It's kind of more droned out, zoned out, but still on point. Still fun to listen to, so it was good.
All right. Let's move on then to Willie Lloyd.
Even if they hit the others in 96, Black Tony told him, Gigi, get the yay line of scrimmage, pay the man.
So Willie Lloyd is the leader of one of Chicago's street gangs, the Almighty Vice Lord Nation. He changed his focus in 2002, working for anti-gang peace efforts, comparable to, say, Malcolm X, who changed his life after going to prison and started working towards fighting that kind of life. So I think it's interesting that Mr. Freddie Gibbs has now referenced two characters from history that were former gangsters who have reformed themselves. I don't get the feeling that Mr. Freddie Gibbs has reformed himself much, but I thought it was just interesting that he chose those two gangster types. And not to call Malcolm X a gangster, but given his past, it's not an unfair term to use either. Anyway, and so he kind of came in, he flows through this one. I like how he just starts it like straight out the sewer, like Das Effects. Which one of you want it next? In my dreams I see faces of death. I'm gonna pray for you, host, get your rosary across your chest. And he just flows, and I love listening to how he flows. And it just sounds legitimate, kind of sounds proper. I like his kind of offbeat way, conversational tone to his rhyming. Goes on through, does his thing. I don't have a lot to really comment on it. There's not that many lines that really stuck out to me. I do kind of like, I don't know. There's not much here. When I say not much here, not like there was a lack of content, but there's not a lot here that I can really comment on. He just kind of is a legitimate person, moving drugs, doing what he's got to do, fucking hoes, living the life the way it's supposed to be done in a believable way that I believe he actually lives this life.
He's reevaluating his I feel like he's revalidating who he is. Kind of just reassuring us, like, don't fuck with me. This is what I do. This is the life that I live. And I like that they took the time to kind of cut each other out on certain tracks, give each other that moment to just be alone and do your own type of flair, your own type of thing without contrasting with one another. So that was really cool. But yeah, I give the song a 4 on 5.
That's fair. I can see how a few of you might think this is a dumb review because whatever, but this is just my impressions off the album. You don't have to like what I'm saying. If you get me, you get me. If you don't, you don't. That is the next one, Tapatio.
If you do get a line, you'll never see you if you don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
So Tapatio or whatever is a type of sauce. So it's like calling the song sauce or hot sauce. Yeah, same kind of thing. I mean, thematically, I'm not really expecting anything different at this point. So it's just fucking lines. I really enjoyed when Freddie Gibbs is like, she don't think the sex come with head. I dodge a bitch like Neo. I'm like, okay, I respect that. Like, if I was on the single game and I was out there and a lady was like, I'm not going to blow you, I imagine I would not be as interested in the relationship moving forward. I don't know. Call me whatever, but I feel like in life we should all be into oral sex a little bit more. Otherwise, the lyrics are great in the sense that they're well constructed. Like, it was stomach aches, heartbreaks, warrants off the missed court dates, eviction notice about Dakota County, sent the rant about a million months late.
Right.
And, you know, like this authentic feel, thinking back, the rhyming is on point. The structure of the flow is great. Every line delivered properly. It's super well done. But I don't have a lot more to add to what I previously said on this. I think it's another enjoyable one with more smooth and interesting production from Alchemist. Curren does a shorter verse. Freddie Gibbs goes on a bit of a longer sounding verse. I feel like Freddie Gibbs seems to have more to say on a few of these songs. I don't know if that's just their styles or whatever. Anyway, I give this a 4.3. It's a pretty great song in terms of just listening to. And as far as content and subject matter, it's not really for me, but I really enjoy listening to these guys spit, like I've said.
I like how Curren said it's like diving out of the plane once the music hits our veins. I like how he's so like passionate about the music that he makes. He gets adrenaline off of it. I like the energy that they carry through this song. That was really great as well. There again, it's very consistent with what we've been getting from both of them. Not a beat has been missed, not a flow has been, offbeat or tampered with. And even if it was, like we were saying, even if it was offbeat, it's like these guys care more about just kind of getting their message across and kind of just showing you the originality of who they are before even like caring about perfection or whatnot. Because I feel like they understand like they are who they are. They don't have to be this level of status or godlike or whatnot. So that was really cool. I also gave the song a 4. I think the overall like the song itself is still good for the album.
All right, let's talk about the last one on this project, Bundy and Sincere.
The days of our lives, and make sure you touch something luxurious before you die, like one from Mag.
It's a pretty cool song. I kind of like the Mac Miller line. I think that was a pretty interesting thing to throw into the song. It really made it like personal, and I think a lot of people can appreciate that. It's just make sure you touch something luxurious before you die. Light one from Mac Miller, Blue Side Park, in the Sky Still in Here. And that's, I think, one of his earlier albums. I thought that was really like sweet, and it's really cool to see that because I guess it is that we're going to start seeing deaths in our generation, and I like the idea of just paying that kind of love to it. Otherwise, I felt this was a great way to end the project. I think it's like a step above a lot of the other ones on it. Like, even from the start, Bullshit runs a marathon. Rap Shit got my parking Bentleys on a lawn. Continental T's got that red labels on ours. Don't confuse me with those other rap frauds. So it's like got that mission statement kind of feel. Like, through rap, I've got the success going on in my life right now because of the different things. I got to a point where there's literally Bentleys on my lawn because I don't even have room in my fucking driveway anymore. Don't confuse me with these fake fuckers and whatnot. Great start to it, and it just kind of, the verse flows on from there. And I don't really, same kind of stuff that we've gotten, same great flowing. And I really enjoy Freddie Gibbs on it as well, doing the same kind of thing. And I feel like him too, he starts it off, rest in peace Mac, following off of Currency's last verse, just kind of keeping it going. And then I like Wet Dope on the Bounty paper. And I can just picture him just with a bunch of fucking dope drying out on Bounty. Because it is the quicker picker upper. It's a fucking great paper. If you have a good and clean up messes, you want to use Bounty. It's a good one. Anyway.
I take it as like the Bounty paper, like their wanted sign.
Walter White walked the wheat cooking up that Jesse Pink. That's funny that they're, using Jesse Pinkman as a type of fucking meth cooking up dope. Anyway, I enjoyed this one. I give it a 4.5. It's consistent for the rest of this project. So yeah, that's what I got to say about that one.
It's a good way to end the project. Both of them are coming at both sides of the spectrum on their lives. They're keeping the same energy they've been bringing to us. I like how they did pay tribute to Mac Miller, how they're kind of saying like, we could die at any moment. You could live your last day. Just kind of like do what you got to do and don't give up. That's what I kind of took from this song. Don't give up. Keep moving forward. Keep grinding. Of course, you've got their lifestyle, their energy that they're bringing, so it's a little bit different verbally, but essentially the message is the same. I gave it a 4 on 5.
All right, cool. So thank y'all for that. This is the end of the review now. To sum up this project, I would give the Fetti album a 4.34. I really like it. It is basically an album probably more for people who are connected to the streets than it is for me. It's not like a lifestyle I can connect to. But the production on the album is amazing. Alchemist does great work here, and it makes a consistent vibe song by song that you can easily listen to. On top of that, each dude is consistent track to track, dropping this lyrical, authentic sounding kind of music you can connect to. Like, there is some motivation where if these guys are rapping about working in an office, I'd be calling it the greatest album ever, you know?
Right.
So I can see how there's a bit of a disconnect in that in terms of the content, but the rhyming, the way they came through, it felt like I was listening to some proper late 90s drug dealer music. So that was really cool for a 2018 release. Further proof that hip-hop is not dead. And anyway, I liked it. Good album.
I like the album. Mathematically, it came up to a 3.98. I think overall the reason why it's that is because it's just, again, I don't think it's my demographic or I'm the targeted audience. I don't particularly like this isn't my type of straight go-to music. But it doesn't take away from the energy and the messages and the way that this is produced. This is probably my first time listening to a full Alchemist produced album.
I think the Wu-Tang album that we did last year.
Fully produced by Alchemist?
I'm pretty sure he did that one, no?
I don't remember if he
might be
fully
wrong.
produced it, but like his ability with different sounds and different type of feels is really great. Both artists, Currency and Freddie Gibbs, they both know how to like kind of jump off each other and feed off each other's vibe and give you that type of energetic lifestyle. It was good. I can appreciate this album. It's just not for me.
That's fair. If there was some more trappy drums, Chris would be all over that. And if they were repeating the chorus over and over again. Okay, anyway. Thank y'all for watching. We really appreciate it. This is the first part of our... This is a little shorter than normal because the album was 22 minutes. So that's why we have a couple more we're going to record today. And you should see them coming out shortly. So thank you for that. Thank you for being a part of this. Special thanks to the patrons, Ismail Gadamsi, Super Old School 1994, Linda Williams, and Chris Prado. They support us more directly. They get to kind of sway our opinion in certain albums to get reviewed. If you sign up on that tier, you get to also get just a free review no matter what you want. We're going to do it. Also, you get access to content early. Good stuff. And if you don't want to do that, you can hit that subscribe button, hit that like, leave a little comment, and we'll have a little conversation down below. And yeah, you can educate us, tell us your favorite thoughts, etc., etc. Anyway, we're going to go record another one shortly. So take care and catch you soon. Bye-bye.